12 teams representing some of the biggest cities around the world. 72 of the world's most talented poker players with over $350 million in combined lifetime earnings will put everything on the line over 8 months to compete for the title of the first ever GPL World Champions. Which team has what it takes? The Global Poker League starts now.
Hello and welcome to the Global Poker League. This Thursday evening, we are into week 6 already. I am Laura Cornelius and I will be joined by our commentary team of Sam Grafton and Griffin Benja in just a few moments. Yesterday we saw some excellent heads-up matches from the Eurasian Conference. We had Eurasian and Americas Conference 6-max on Tuesday as well. Tonight it's all about heads-up in the Americas Conference, and that very first game will be kicking off shortly in the next 25 minutes or so. There's been a slight change to that schedule. Jason Wheeler is now being replaced by Bryn Kenney, manager of the New York Rounders. He will be facing off against Jonathan Jaffe of the San Francisco Rush. That will be kicking off at 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central European time, so in around 30 minutes time. The second match of today is Jason Lavallee of the Montreal Nationals. He was the wild card versus Sao Paulo met Darren Elias. That's match 59, kicking off at 12:30 p.m. Pacific, 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 9:30 p.m. Central European time. And the last final match of the evening, it's Fedor Holz for the LA Sunset. This is the first time Fedor has played heads up. He will be up against Jonathan Duhamel of the Las Vegas Moneymakers. That's match 60 already, 2 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, 12 a.m. Central European time. Match 60. Sam Grafton, I'm joined by now. Can you believe we've had that many matches?
Yeah, I can. It's been exhausting. I've been in the commentary booth with Griffin Benja. Believe me, time passes slowly over there.
Does it?
No,
it's
been so exciting. We've really seen some top quality matches. One of the highlights coming yesterday of the whole season with Mustafa Canet putting on quite a show.
Yeah, it was great, wasn't it? I think that was one of my favourite heads-up matches so far.
Yeah, one of the most exciting matches we've seen. Rome Emperors fans definitely breathing a sigh of relief. Relief, rather. That's
or release.
Yeah, release. Yeah, that's a franchise that has been struggling, but Mustafa Canet making a massive impact yesterday, and I think there's good things to come from them.
Yeah, we thought that he might clean sweep it, but he let Danza have the last one. I think it was only fair that he let Danza have those 3 points.
In many ways, he did deserve it. Did deserve the sweep because it was an outstanding performance. Really, really was something very, very special. I mean, a lot of the time, me and Griffin are able to sort of predict what's going to happen. Oh, this is going to be a re-raise or this. With Mustafa Canet, you have no chance of predicting the way hands are going to go down because he takes such exciting and interesting lines.
Yeah. One hand that everyone was talking about was that both with a flush, and the time that it took Danza to. I mean, we wanted him to fold it, didn't we? But
I mean, George Danza, don't get me wrong, top class operator, top class poker talent, worthy opponent for Mustafa Canet. Some people would have been run over long before. George Danza fought every single match right to the end. Really, really was exciting stuff.
We had some other great matches as well, though, not to forget. We did see a clean sweep by Bonomo.
Yeah, Justin Bonomo really outmatching Randy Liu. Obviously, as I've said time and time again, we love a bit of Randy Liu.
The fans love
here
Randy.
On GPL.
Don't
And
say
it's
that.
understandable.
He got bad cards.
This is someone that's fun-loving, enjoys his poker, and that really comes across. He's someone that makes you enthusiastic to play the game. But up against Justin Bonomo, really one of the strongest fourth-round draft picks, one of the strongest players in the whole conference.
Yeah, he was brilliant, wasn't he? And he had great hair.
Yeah, always great hair. That's something we expect from Justin.
And how can we forget the adorable Sergei Lebedev?
Another big fan favourite, Sergei Lebedev. Obviously, it's quite funny to think back to week 1. Sergei Lebedev, one of the first days in the Eurasia Conference, was really quiet on the camera, didn't say much, didn't seem to have much of a personality, and he's blossomed over the course of the 6 weeks. Now he, takes the time explaining his thought process. We've met his wife, we've met his kid. We feel like we know the whole Lebedev family, and that's absolutely wonderful. One of the things about the GPL is, we're bringing in established stars, and we're making the stars of the future. And Sergei Lebedev, someone we've all got to know and love over the course of this first 6 weeks.
And we've got to realise that it's not that easy. He speaks Russian, you know.
Sure.
He's got to try and think this in English.
Yeah.
And it's quite nerve-wracking to do that. Like, imagine doing that in Russian.
Mate, I'm under it speaking in English every day, let alone in a foreign language. And as Griffin quite rightly said, you know, a special thanks to the generosity of these guys who share their thoughts not in their native language.
Yeah, well, we have...
Same with Mustafa Kanat, of course, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
He didn't talk so much as Lebedev, I don't think. He was doing more...
Very expressive still.
Yeah,
You still
expressive
got a
stuff.
sense of his emotions, even if he wasn't
Abstract,
articulating
kind
them in quite the same
Let's
way.
quickly talk about today then. Which match are you most excited for
Well,
today?
I was, you know, excited when we got the news. Hashtag BK's World. You know I'm a big Bryn Kenney fan. I'm a big Jason Wheeler fan as well, of course. But Bryn Kenney, a last-minute replacement. That's going to be the first...
Because Jason Wheeler is going in
Going deep in
WPT,
WPT Amsterdam. Obviously, that's
which he won last year.
Yeah, oh, wow. Laura Cornelius dropping the absolute poker knowledge. Good luck to Jason Wheeler in WPT Amsterdam. I know everyone at GPL would love to see him take down the trophy. Bryn Kenney, the manager, stepping in, quite a player, quite a character. But not off to the best starts. Did get beaten 2-1 by Pascal Lefrancois when he made his debut. Going to be looking to set things right today against a very, very tough opponent in Jaffe.
It was a fun game to watch though. He was pulling off a few bluffs here and there. Well, he got caught with his pants down a few times, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, if you want to employ that rather precarious metaphor, Laura. Yeah, Bryn Kenney is someone that goes for the big bluffs time and time again. He does not have... a second. He's in first gear the whole time, absolutely going for it. So it's definitely going to be an exciting match. Blink or you'll miss it because, you know, a couple of times the matches were over so quickly. Yeah. If Bryn Kenney finds himself with 5 high on the river, the chips are going in more often than not.
Right, well, that is our first match. It's coming very soon. In the meantime, though, take a look at this video and how the whole GPL works.
The Global Poker League consists of 12 worldwide teams, 6 in the Eurasian Conference and 6 in the American Conference. Each team has a total of 6 players, and the manager of that team may choose whoever they like to play at any time, provided each player on their team plays a minimum of 6 matches across the season. The GPL starts the regular season with 8 weeks of online arena action, which consists of 6 max and heads-up matches. Every Tuesday, all 6 teams from each conference will face off in 2 6-max sit-and-goes. One team in each conference will play as the home team, while the other 5 are away. Home team managers have the ability to pick their players once they have seen the lineup of the away teams. Points will be awarded to all teams competing except for the 6th place finisher per match. First will get 7 points, second 5 points, third 3 points, fourth 2 points, and 5th will get 1 point. Every Wednesday, each of the 6 Eurasian Conference teams will battle in 3 heads-up games against an opponent from another Eurasian Conference team. And every Thursday, each American Conference team will do the same. For heads-up, one team from each matchup will play at home, while the other away. All 3 games will be played, with 3 points awarded per game won and 0 points awarded per game lost, with a total of 9 points available. After the 8 weeks of online arena, live heads-up play will be introduced in the Global Poker League Summer Series in Las Vegas. Teams from GPL's 2 conferences will face off against each other in cross-conference heads-up play in 6 heats across 5 weeks of daily action. Just as in the online arena, during studio heads-up play, they will duel for 3 games, with 9 possible points available per match. After the summer series, the GPL regular season continues, with 6 more weeks of online arena action, after which the 2 teams at the bottom of each conference will be eliminated, and the remaining 8 will advance to the playoffs. The playoffs will see the much-awaited introduction of the Cube, the ultimate poker arena. A 2-day event hosted from an epic venue in North America at the end of September will see 8 teams reduced down to 4 in a completely revolutionary 3v3 format. Finally, the first season of the Global Poker League will conclude its play with the live finals, played from the Cube at the SSE Arena, Wembley, in London, where the champions of each conference will be determined on day 1. And finally, on the grand final on day 2, where the Americas Conference winner will face off against Eurasia's best to determine who will be crowned the Global Poker League champions.
Hey guys, that was Laura Cornelius telling you all about the GPL. I'm Griffin Benger. This is Sam Grafton. This is the end of week 6. No idea how we made it this far, but we're here, we're live, we're kicking. And yesterday was one of my favorite days in the GPL. We had Bonomo against Nanonoko. We had the real debut of Mustafa Kinet. It was just real special.
Any day with Randy Lou in action is a good day here at the GPL. One of the fan favorites, but Justin Bonomo proving to be a class apart in the contest with Randy Lou.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I was pushing the storyline of Goku versus Frieza, but it really became that kind of match for Nanonoko, just not being able to handle the just absolute masterclass performance by the villain from the the London Royals. So unfortunate for Nanonoko. A bit humbling. This is a guy who started the league, sweeping, of course, Sergei Lebedev, who's become a bit of a star of his own in this league. And, fast forward a few weeks later, some good performances, and then a little of a way kind of being put in his place by someone that is just so bloody talented at heads-up poker.
Yeah, Justin Bonomo, really one of the strongest heads-up players in the league, can also perform on the 6-max stage, a huge asset to the London Royals.
Absolutely. So that was a huge 9 points. Again, we see a little more footage here. Randy Lou getting very unlucky with the 2 kings here, deciding to call the check raise, and then the river. It doesn't really change much here, Sam.
Yeah, of course, still a bluff catcher against the majority of the hands that Justin Bonomo is repping. He may play a straight like this on occasion, but unlikely that he's going to have a lower set and play it this way. Randy Lou compelled to call the all-in with second set and lost 3 games to 0.
Another fantastic match yesterday that actually a little bit got lost in the shuffle with our excitement because Nanonoko was so exciting. Obviously, Mustafa. This match, Sergei Lebedev against Brian Ras. Lebedev really showing how talented he is at heads up, why the Moscow Wolverines and Anatoly Filatov has decided to thrust him into that role.
Mate, yeah, absolutely. And Sergei Lebedev, a big reason that the Moscow Wolverines are flying high in the Eurasia Conference. The 2 wins here, putting them a massive 14 points clear of Paris Aviators in second. Sergei Lebedev, as you said, becoming a bit of a star in his own right. Here, calling a big turn bet from Brian Ras, holding the nuts, but he did manage to get away on the river when the 10 paired, finding the fold here and going on to win these first 2 matches.
Yeah, but let's not take anything away from Brian Ras. There's a reason why this guy has over 16 million in tournament earnings. In that third match, he played one hand in particular where he overbet that river, really forcing like 2.5x. I mean, he's the kind of guy that goes for big pots, goes for the jugular, and even Lebedev with how, just contained and strong and solid he is, still fell into the trap that is Brian Ras, earning 3 points for the Berlin Bears, and they really needed it.
Yeah, there will be more from Brian Ras to come. And then this was one of the outstanding matches of the whole season. Mustafa Kinet bursting onto the scene.
Mustafa Kinet. This is pretty much what I've been expecting and what I've been hoping for since the GPL started. This is the first overall pick for the Rumble.
Yeah, and this is a great example. This hand only goes down like this when Mustafa Kinet is in the driver's seat. Jack 3 high, no draw on the river, all in, forcing George Danza off the best hand, and he really did play an outlandish playing style, which he makes work for him.
And his commentary was so brilliant right there. He's like, come on, they got the ace-king, man. Come on. Hey, yeah. George, we're friends, George.
And a real entertainer, a real showman as well. And George Danza, this was an amazing spot. Danza showing some of his class. Mustafa Kinet, flush over flush. Danza banked hard on the river, nearly getting away from a 10 high flush, which is pretty remarkable, I've got to say, that he even considered folding in this spot. In the end, Mustafa Kinet's reputation pushed him over the edge, did feel he had to make the call.
Yeah, and this hand in particular was another example of how Mustafa just is so aware of his range against George Danzer's range, representing certain hands, that George, he may have taken 8 minutes to make that fold the flush. There, folded that full house within 20 seconds. Amazing.
Absolutely amazing.
Just being that in tune.
Mean, as I kept saying yesterday, Mustafa Kinet finds ways to make chips where no one else would. Here, went for an overbet after checking back a strong top pair on the turn and ran out cleanly for him. And George Danza, this time, hero calling with just the ace high. And this is the way the match really went down. I mean, we should say fair play to George Danza. He did score 3 points in the end. But it seemed like every time Mustafa Kinet had it, Danza made the hero call. And every time Kinet didn't have it, George Danza found the fold. So really, really amazing stuff. Really I recommend, if you haven't seen that match, if you did miss it yesterday, this was one of the treats of the entire season. Do go back and watch that. Anyway, I think we're going to head over to Laura,
let's do it.
who's going to talk a little bit about the standings and the bigger picture.
Thank you so very much, boys, for the recap of yesterday's action. What a great day it was here at the Global Poker League. And it saw the Moscow Wolverines take a huge first place jump. They now have 82 points. They are 14 points clear of the London Royals. Now, a lot of tying going on in the Eurasian Conference. So London Royals now 68 points, tied with the Paris Aviators, also 68 points. Georgia Danza able to get those last 3 points of the match yesterday against Mustafa Kanat. And of course, for London Royals, Justin Bonomo did really well, getting 9 points, winning all 3 of his heads-up matches. Hong Kong Stars, bit of a jump between 3rd and 4th place now. There is 10 points between them. Nanonoko obviously unable to pick up any points yesterday against Justin Bonomo, meaning that they are slipping down the conference. Berlin Bears on 51 points, tying with the Rome Emperors as well with 51 points, although Rome obviously able to pick up their 2nd win ever in GPL history. Yesterday evening, Mustafa Kanat was able to do that. Let's take a look now at the Americas Conference, because we are watching Americas all night tonight. Heads up action. The New York Rounders are still just 1 point ahead of the Montreal Nationals right now. So Bryn Kenney really looking to score some points and keep his team at the top of the conference. So Sao Paulo Mets are again 1 point below the Nationals. We can see how tight it is in the Americas Conference compared to the Eurasian. 14 points separating 1st and 2nd in the Eurasian, and now just 1 point between 1st and 2nd, and 2 points between 1st and 3rd. So Los Angeles Sunset only 3 points behind Sao Paulo as well. Fedor Holtz will be back for them this evening in the last match against Duhamel for the Las Vegas Moneymakers, who are sitting in 5th place. They are 7 points behind LA Sunset, so a bit more of a gap between 4th and 5th place. And then we've got San Francisco Rush all the way down the bottom there, but they are only down the bottom by 1 point, separating 6th place and 5th place. So Jonathan Jaffe, who's up first against Bryn Kenney today, will be looking to take San Francisco Rush from up the bottom of the table. Let's take a look at the top scorers so far in the GPL. He's still there. Olivier Bousquet is top, tied with Anatoly Filatov. They've both got 33 points, but Bousquet will not be playing today. He normally plays heads up for LA Sunset every single week, but not today. Fedor Holtz has got some pressure on him now. He needs to try and score as many points as Bousquet has. Nanonoko, obviously 24 points, unable to pick up any yesterday. Tyler Kenny, we will see him back next week, hopefully. The brother of Bryn, 22 points for him. He did fantastically in those 6 maxes. Along with Felipe Ramos, they had a little partnership going on, always able to do well and come 1st and 2nd in 3 matches out of 4 that they've played. And then Mike Leah is in 6th place as a top scorer. He's also been doing really well in the 6 max format. And he's played some heads up now as well. Eric Danny, are you there, the stat man?
Hello, Laura. Let's take a look at a few more stats. The stats geeks will be very happy to hear some more stats. Let's first take a look at heads up points accumulated by the players in the Americas Conference. You mentioned Olivier Bousquet, the top scorer overall. He also leads when it comes to 6 max points. That shouldn't come to any surprise, Laura. 4 matches played, 24 points. That's 6 points per match. Great results from Olivier Bousquet. Sitting in 2nd, some might be surprised by this. I'm certainly not. I'm a big fan of Pascal Lefrançois, who is 2nd for the Montreal team. 2 matches played, 15 points so far in heads-up competition. Jonathan Little a bit flying under the radar, but 12 points already. He's the big scorer in heads-up play for the Las Vegas Moneymakers. We'll actually talk about that a bit later on today. Thiago Nishijima is next. He is tied with Thomas Marchese. Both have played 3 matches, heads-up matches, and have accumulated 12 points. So, not too bad there. And then Jason Mercier, of course, is there on the list. The New York Rounder has only played once, but he's collected all 9 points, sweeping Philip Galfond a few weeks back. Galfond, of course, playing for the San Francisco Rush. Our next stat, let's take a look at hands dealt. That's one stat that I think is just fun for all of us, right? Total amount of hands dealt in heads-up competition so far for the Americas Conference. No shocker, Laura. We see Olivier Bousquet, of course, on top of this list as well. 555 hands dealt through 4 heads-up matches so far this season. The Big Cheese, Thomas Marchese, sits second for New York, 387 heads-up hands dealt. Thiago Nishijima is third at 333. Pascal Lefrancois, who's played twice, has been dealt 239 hands. And I think those hands would be way higher had the boxing match with Bryn Kenney not happened. That was a slugfest for sure. I'm sure we'll expect more of the slugfest from Kenney later on tonight. Jonathan Little and finally Jason Lavallee, Lefrancois' teammate, after one match, 179 hands dealt. That's the same number as Scott Ball, by the way. Both actually played each other only once. So they sit at 179 hands dealt. We'll have a few more stats for you before the next game. Laura, let's take it back to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Eric Danny, the stats man there. A lot of hands that those players have been dealt. Olivier Bousquet, though, not back today. As we say, Fedor Holz will be taken over for the LA Sunset versus Jonathan Duhamel. That is our last match of the evening. And of course, don't forget the second match of today will be Jason Lavallee for the Montreal Nationals facing Darren Elias of the Sao Paulo Mets. But before that, everyone is waiting for this first one. It's going to be Bryn Kenney now. He's stepping in for Jason Wheeler. As we mentioned, Jason Wheeler running pretty well in a live tournament, WPT Amsterdam. So Bryn is taking over for him, and he will be facing off against Jonathan Jaffe, who is playing for the San Francisco Rush. We saw him debut just a few weeks ago. He put in a pretty good performance, so this should be an epic match that is following. Boys in the booth, over to you.
Thanks as always, Laura. First match today. Personally, super excited about it. What do you think about this so far?
Yeah, I'm so excited to see Bryn Kenney in action once more.
BK's World.
Hashtag BK's World. You know, really one of the most exciting players in the high rollers.
Yes.
One of the most exciting players in MTT tournaments online. Yeah, real outstanding performer up against Jonathan Jaffe, someone also with a wry sense of humor and poker playing talent by the bucket load.
Yeah, you know, I've been calling the the New York Rounders and Jason Wheeler in particular the Bulldogs of the GPL. They just run in there and they try to get the job done. Bryn Kenney is no different, but he's really in for it today with Jonathan Jaffe in particular. We saw a little bit of him the other day, but Bryn, I mean, you know, as you were saying in the lounge man.
Bit of one-on-one time with Laura.
Yeah, I mean, I think
it's
important. It's important. We have too much one-on-one time, but you guys together, it works.
It was cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, Bryn Kenney, for those of you not familiar with this particular legend, someone that has so much gamble, someone that takes huge swings in bankroll, someone who's always got a lot of money in play when the big EPTs come round.
Yeah.
Someone, by the way, that won the 100K at the PCA for a humongous score earlier in the year.
Yeah, so happy for him when that happened. That was
immense respect from our end, but also someone who's, you know, all guns blazing style can sometimes be exploited against Pascal Lefrancois. If you miss that match, Bryn Kenney running huge bluffs, occasionally getting them through, occasionally getting caught, as Laura Cornelius likes to say, with his pants down, running a huge bluff with 5-3 suited, where Pascal Lefrancois just sat back, slow played the aces, and Bryn did his entire stack. Not the most auspicious of starts for the manager of the New York Rounders. It's important that while we want to encourage, we love the entertainers, it's important to entertain like Mustafa Kanat did and also register points.
Yeah, and the other thing too about Bryn Kenney is, you know, a lot of the other managers, I feel like we talked about how, you know, they weren't taking certain plus EV shoves because they were worried about how they have to get points for their team. We talked about Max Pescatori making a few folds, Selena Lynn maybe being a bit gun shy. Bryn Kenney is going to be the exact opposite of that. He is going to go for the gusto. He's going to try to get 9 points any single way he can. He tries to win every single pot this guy plays. Yeah. And it's so fun to watch, and I'm really excited to see what he brings.
You're in for a real treat if you miss the first Bryn Kenney match.
Yeah.
The guy's love for the game is absolutely infectious, comes across when you're playing with him live, comes across through the webcam.
Yeah, and for sure, follow him on Twitter, too. It's at Bryn Kenney World.
For sure.
He's a great tweeter out there, so please check his account out for sure.
And now let's move to Jonathan Jaffe.
Yes, let's move on.
This is a guy who is most famed for his online heads-up pedigree, you know, in the cash games.
Definitely.
Also a WPT champion as well, does have success in the tournament circuit, but that's the reason you just see the 2 million in earnings,
Yeah.
dwarfed by some of the players in the GPL, but that's not his bread and butter game. In fact, he is one of the most feared
He
heads-up
looks
opponents.
like if he were short, he could pull off a dwarf too. Like I don't know how tall he is. He could be 6'5", but in this picture, like he looks a bit dwarfy.
For sure.
It's not a disparaging comment.
And you know, he also was great on the web camera.
Yeah.
In a different way to Bryn, like a little bit of an ironic sense of humor, little nods and winks to the audience.
Definitely.
A lot of fun, and also shared so much high-level strategy.
Yeah.
You know, as a poker geek myself, as a poker theory fan,
Yeah.
it was a real treat to have him on the web camera, sharing his insights, sharing his strategies. In fact, it actually harmed his chances against Thiago Nishiyama.
Yeah.
Because he was talking so much, they actually didn't get in so many hands.
Yeah,
and
I think Thiago may have been able to adjust as well.
For
He
sure.
was watching the stream. He had a great moment when he sort of corrected me when I said, you know, he may come off as arrogant, but he's just really confident in his abilities. And then he came on the camera and he was like, Griffin Bencher, I just want to let you know, you're wrong. I'm incredibly arrogant. And
I mean, we've got two players here
that are arrogant for days on days on days.
Definitely neither lacking in
Beautiful
confidence.
God complexes in the best, most fun possible way. These guys think they're the best poker players in the world, and they're going to clash
And
today.
the other thing we should say is this is top of the table New York Rounders versus bottom of the table San Francisco Rush.
Yeah.
So, you know, when I'm saying about Jonathan, obviously we love it when people share their thoughts, their reminiscences.
Reminiscences?
Sorry, not sure of that word. You know, and their strategic insight on the web camera. That's obviously so great for the viewers at home. But Jonathan Jaffe in a position where they must start accumulating some points.
Definitely, and you know the whole arrogance too. It reminded me of a certain character, so I got him a Captain Cold figurine. This is a character from Legends of Tomorrow. Very arrogant, very meta. Not a lot of people are going to get it, but that's okay. Not all of you will get my references. And this, of course, the Bulldog himself.
But the Bulldog's not in play today.
Yes, it is. No, they're all Bulldogs, all the rounders.
But I think that we do have Jonathan Jaffe on
coming.
Skype at some point, so that'll be really interesting to see. You know, he's such a great character, really funny guy, and the whole San Francisco Rush. That's really in Faraz's image. Another guy that's got that eccentricity, it's got that charisma on the camera.
For sure.
You know, I really think that this is going to be one of the most exciting matches of the day and the week.
The Bulldog against Captain Cold. I think we're ready for an interview with.
Let's head over to Laura Cornelius in the lounge, and she's going to have Jonathan Jaffe, and he's going to tell us about the match.
Thank you so much, boys. Jonathan Jaffe is going to be playing Bryn Kenney. Heads up, very soon. Please do stay here, stay tuned. Do we have Jonathan Jaffe there?
Am I here?
Jonathan, you are there. Thank you
All
for
right.
joining us. How have you been preparing for this match against Bryn Kenney?
Oh, let's see. Found out about 10 minutes ago, so just kind of shifted from playing a really fun match to letting Bryn play a fun match, and I'm going to see how I adjust there.
Did you watch Bryn's heads-up match with the Pascal Lefrancois?
No.
Well, he was pulling quite a lot of bluffs, I'll tell you that.
How'd he do? Did he win?
He lost 2-1 actually, but it was a very entertaining game.
All right, well, I would have preferred he won because now he's hungry.
Yep, he probably is hungry, and you don't want to see Bryn Kenney hungry.
Definitely not if you're a buffet manager.
San Francisco Rush, not been doing so great, but I imagine you're here to bring them up the standings now, right?
Yeah, we're not really worried. We're pretty happy with our talents and a lot of season left.
Obviously, you thought you were playing Jason Wheeler, so is your strategy going to change now you know there's been a last-minute change and you're playing Bryn?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're both really talented players, but Bryn's got a lot more heads-up experience, to my knowledge, and so it's a pretty different game now.
Had you had much experience playing with Jason or Bryn in the past?
Jason only in tournaments. Bryn and I have a little bit of heads-up history, but it's very old. We were both playing a lot more hood poker and didn't know too much about the game back when we were playing heads-up.
Is there a bit of beef between you?
No, we're friends. I like Bryn a lot.
Okay, and have you been chatting much with Faraz about moving forward with the team, with your other teammates, about how to gain more points, strategy-wise, that sort of thing?
Yeah, we decided we're probably going to try less losing and more winning. That was the overall theme, and I think better poker and better luck were our main two strategies.
You know what? That's not a bad idea. I'd go with that myself.
The adjustments in this game are generally pretty simple, so I think it'll work.
You feeling pumped? You ready to beat Bryn Kenney?
I'm ready to play. The cards and Bryn will decide that, but I'm excited to play.
Okay, final words to your fans on Twitch.
I hope I have some of you.
I'm sure you do. We'll make some for you.
Cool.
Thank you so much, Jonathan Jaffe. Good luck in this very next match. Jonathan Jaffe there for the San Francisco Rush. He is taking on Bryn Kenney, who is the general manager of the New York Rounders, who are top of the table. So at the moment, it is top of the table versus bottom of the table. Jonathan Jaffe obviously looking to score a lot of points, possibly the 9 points for the clean sweep. Each game is going to be worth 3 points. They will play all 3 games no matter what. It is not just a best of. They are playing for the points for their conference and looking to win. We're going to head back over to the commentators Sam Grafton and Griffin Benger, who are going to talk a little more before we go into this very first match.
Thanks, Laura. So lonely in that lounge. We're Griffin Benger, Sam Grafton. She already introduced us. She went with Sam Grafton first, which I don't know if I feel comfortable with. Like it's Graf.
Mate, I'm
you
coming
know what
up.
I mean?
I'm moving up the league like San Francisco Rush.
Griff? Come on.
Exciting stuff today. JDPC.
Yes.
Deep in WPT
Yes.
Amsterdam. We wish that man well.
Yes.
Someone that you and me personally.
This totally wasn't meant for you, Bulldog.
Someone we really love, but a real treat for poker fans with Bryn Kenney stepping into the breach.
Absolutely. Yeah, Bryn, such a legend within poker in so many different kind of ways. You know, like he's someone
behind
that's
the
just
scenes.
Behind the scenes,
he's a legend.
He's
I mean, if you want to book a
yeah.
bet, if you want to sell some action, if you
for
want,
sure.
you know, when there's no one left to sell, when Griffin Benger wants to play a 10K, when Sam Grafton wants to play a 10K, and it seems like there's no chance we could sell. There's one man.
I'm not even
you can
kidding
pull
you.
out the BK side.
Can I just say this for a second? I'm not even kidding you. My biggest score, other than the shark cage, is a 10K that I won, and Bryn had more percentage than I did.
Well, there we go.
True story.
And you know that is the case. You know, a lot of the time, this is a guy with real gamble. And Jared Jaffe, you know, we should say. This is a guy, very much like Bousquet, that specializes in heads up. I mean, our limitations as commentators are often exposed by some of these guys because they're, you know, so in control of what they're doing. They've done so much work in the lab to perfect their ranges, to calibrate, you know, their 3-bet frequencies and such like that. It's going to be a real test for us to even keep up with what Jared's doing and explain it to the fans.
Yeah, there's a great sort of metagame thing going on between these two in particular because I think that, you know, Bryn is someone that's really, when the camera's on him, he's going to really want the attention in a good way. He wants to be a showman. But the problem is that, you know, Jaffe's going to be very aware of that. Maybe he watched the match that he played against Pascal Lafrancois. Even if he didn't, he's probably going to know that the kind of, you know, flair and ego that a guy like Bryn has, that he's going to be going for big bluffs. So does Bryn use that against him and always have it? There's so many different things. I mean, I don't want to pretend to know what there's going through their heads, but it's that whole, is he going to do this? Is he going to do that?
For
Counter
sure.
it. It's really fun.
And also, Jaffe's going to be someone like Bousquet, you know, that has well honed bluff catching frequencies, utilizing blockers, utilizing everything he knows, all the work he's done in the lab, you know, to take advantage of Bryn. You know, as Bousquet articulated when he was playing Marchese, that Marchese was bluffing too much, but he wasn't going to over-adjust. He's just going to wait and get absolutely paid on his big hands. And that's something Bryn's got to be very careful of. Every time Pascal actually had it, he had trip kings in a 3-bet pot, he had aces in a 3-bet pot. Pascal Lafrancois just sat back and, you know, let Bryn bluff off his entire stack. You know, and it's all very well to go for these bluffs and pick up small pots, but if when your opponent actually has it, you lose your entire stack, that isn't going to work out well for you.
For sure. By the way, is my face bleeding right now? Is it there?
It's okay.
It's okay? Because I tried to shave the mustache, guys, but then it just was like, instantly I was cut, and I'm like, this is not meant to be. It's supposed to stay forever.
Well, you did say you'd shave it if Mustafa Canet was defeated.
Okay, that's
and
the
he
deal.
wasn't defeated, so
exactly.
I feel like you
that's
should stay
the deal.
true to
This
that.
is staying here until Mustafa Canet loses 2 of 3 in a heads-up round. Boom.
Yeah, of
booked.
course. I mean, you're a...
Mustafa Canet. It was Musta Day yesterday, the day before.
Yeah. But you know, if there's anyone, obviously we needed to follow up. Maybe that's why Bryn came into the mix, because obviously with Mustafa Kenney, it's hard to top that on the next day.
Yeah.
If
Oh my
there's
God.
few people that have a chance, and
Oh,
Bryn
come
Kenney,
on. Nobody's trumping a Mustafa.
Yeah,
Come on.
but hashtag BK's World. This is going to be a real exciting match. Super eager, and I think the guys are ready.
Yeah,
we're going to be going to
just
the match.
for a second, but I know that Bryn intends to tweet throughout the entire match. So please check out at Bryn Kenney World. He's always very colorful. It's a great account. Please check it out.
For sure.
Let's go to the match soon. Apologies. I think that there we go. See, it's my fault. I need to just not jump the gun. At least we got Jaffe, Captain Cold himself.
All right, game on.
Squid.
Ah,
What a guy.
maybe he's a huge fan.
And Squid 16. Come on. That's got, I mean, like.
Celebrating my 36th birthday.
There you go. You're not 35.
No, I'm 26, obviously.
No, you're not.
I'm 26.
You're 33 or something. I know you are. You're not 36. I can't handle that. I think is this like a team thing? Like he's on Team Squid and it means he doesn't like me with my stupid toys and calling him confident and not arrogant? What level is he operating on right now?
Mate, we can't know.
We can't know
We
what's
can't
going
get
on.
up to that level.
No.
Bryn Kenney firing with 2 overcards. And Jonathan Jaffe with an easy call with the gut shot and overcard. Turns top pair. And Bryn Kenney with this particular holding not doing too well against Jaffe's range. May well elect to slow down. It's going to be an indicator of what we can expect from Bryn Kenney. If he does decide to fire this turn, he does. I think you're going to see a lot of players chill out on the 8 turn with King Queen, but Bryn Kenney fires a second bullet. He went for a big bluff right out the gate against Pascal Lafrancois, if you remember. And will he fire a third time? He's going to know, obviously, that King Queen cannot win at Showdown. And he does fire 3.
Early decision here. Second pair, definitely a situation where I'm only catching bluffs. I think a fair number of his bluffs on the turn involved a 9, a Jack 10. Plenty of hands beat me along the way. I think it's a pretty easy fold.
Bryn Kenney. I mean, again, this is not your average play.
Player.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely not going to see some of the more GTO-orientated guys firing 3 times there with very, very few outs.
Tasmanian devil, buddy. He just spins in the pots and he just spins you and spins you and spins you around.
Yeah.
Bryn is a dynamo. Love it.
And what's going to be great is to see if Jonathan does adjust his frequencies. I mean, he's going to just feel like he's putting money with that when Bryn takes that line anyway, because he's going to have strong enough hands to call down 3 times. But be also interesting to see whether he does, begin to bluff catch even more liberally. Lots of exciting stuff in store in this match. I can feel it already. Also going to be great if we get Bryn on the webcam.
Sounds like we're going to get Bryn's webcam within the next 60 seconds. But if it takes 90, forgive us. We're hoping for a minute.
Mate, hashtag BK's World.
Hashtag BK's World.
Top of the table, New York Rounders.
Pretty nice looking flop.
Here he is. Wow.
The Tasmanian devil.
Rocking the tank top.
Hello, hello, hello. Can anybody hear me?
We can all hear you,
we got
baby.
you, Bryn.
Perfect.
Street Pokes, the hood man.
Hello, everybody.
The hood king.
Trying to make it. Nice sunny day in Amsterdam today.
Beautiful.
Pretty popular lead here in second pair. Second pair pairs on the turn. Him thinking that he has more 6s than me. Actually, a spot where I bet pretty much all my 6s. But I'm going to let it go anyways. Most of his bluffs, the weakest equity we're looking at is probably like a 9-5 in between diamonds, 9-10. All the times he has a 6, any kind of odd value with an 8. Just letting this go.
The professor is in the house. School is in session. Jonathan Jaffe.
So damn cold.
Yeah.
He just knows.
I mean, what I'm saying is
Yeah,
some
no,
of these
I know
guys,
he's balancing the.
No,
yeah,
no, but some of these guys have done real work on their game. You know, you could see not guessing, not clicking buttons. He knows what's up. And sometimes it's going to lead to the wrong decision, but they're obviously saving chips where other people would lose a lot more.
You call the turn there, Bryn Kenney, don't you?
I'm a fish. I don't fold to Bryn. I'm not folding
That's
nothing.
a sit and go player. That's his game. Nice kid also.
Having a 10 in my hand definitely makes this one close. Real borderline here. 60% pot almost. Think the strategy I have in mind. I'm going to let this go too.
So smart, not getting affected by the fact that Bryn's been smashing in the first few hands. First with the 3-barrel bluff, then making trips, then making top.
Yeah.
Tap.
It's interesting to hear Jonathan say he has a strategy in mind. And I wonder whether that's going to be to slightly overfold on flops and turns and then call rivers a little bit more liberally. You know, perhaps getting exploited on early streets when the pots are small and policing a bit harder on later streets when the pots are big.
Checking back that flop just because I do have the best hand the majority of the time, but not a strong enough hand to call a raise. And it's pretty wet texture and a limped pot. You can see plenty of check raises there. So I don't like bet folding what I think might be the best.
Jonathan improves on the river and Bryn Kenney with jack high. Doesn't fire.
Nice river. Definitely a value opportunity. In a bubble, I'm overbetting this.
In a bubble, as he's making little bubble
A
noises.
few matches, I like this bet better.
Bryn not attacking there, recognizing there are some pots even the great man can't attempt to win.
Jonathan Jaffe, obviously part of his strategy to include a lot of hands like this in his 3-bet range. Bryn, faced with a decision now. Bingo, bango. Bongo. Bryn looks...
My 3-bet's really wide, so I'm going to drop out a bet here. It'll probably be a one and done.
Someone rewinding us there or something. I'm not sure what that is in the background. Jonathan fires, and obviously Bryn with trip jacks
And I'm done with this.
in a very comfortable position, calling a bet there. He's going to hope that Jonathan does have a queen or ace king, aces, the stronger hands in his range. Jonathan, of course, indicating that he's one and done on this particular texture. Common phrase amongst poker players, just meaning they're going to fire once, try and pick up the pot with a hand where there's very few turns he can barrel.
Oh, dude, it says Squid Entity 16.
Wow.
Oh, my God. Put your camera down, Joe. Oh, my God. No way.
Some kind of like...
That is so
some
sick.
sick shout out to us. Some
Maybe he
weird...
mentioned it. Oh, my God.
Wow. Wow.
Definitely
Maybe he's
see betting
intentionally
here
making it so we
without a
can't really
spade.
see all of it either.
With a spade. Check back a few times.
Some kind of meta shout out.
Holy
Subtle shout out. But is it because he likes us or he doesn't like us? Or
I think it's because he.
I don't know.
I
Who
don't know.
knows, man? This guy's crazy. Wow. Jonathan Jaffe.
I need a minute, man.
Befuddling. If he
This
could
made
see,
this whole
if
thing
he
all
could
worth
see,
it, by the way.
if he could see how red you've gone in the face, he would just be like,
This is the kind of thing I would do.
so sick. Squid Entity. That's a future screen name. I'm going to have to create an ACR account and get that on the
Oh my god! He's not looking for credit. He's eating Oreos.
Yeah, it doesn't even mention it. Deadpan. That's his delivery. Deadpan. It's not like you, like in me, like clowning around.
Captain Cold.
So Jonathan Jaffe with 2 pair here.
I think he's
betting for value, and Bryn Kenney does improve to a double gut shot.
Sorry, I didn't.
And that's pretty
He
sick.
slipped out of it.
Pretty sick fold from Bryn. Jonathan Jaffe on some kind of sick level. And Bryn Kenney flops strongly. Ace high, the best hand.
Definitely a good flop to see bet. No showdown value. Gut shot and a backdoor flush draw.
Yeah. Jonathan articulating that there are a lot of turn cards favorable for this particular hand. And Bryn not going to be folding. Option of a check raise to build the pot if he hits his hand and blow Jonathan off his equity here and now. See how the main man approaches this spot. Does
Too bad facing a check raise here. Even blocking the nuts. I'm going to let this go. Would have been a nice spot to get barreling. A queen and a king. They're just great barrels also. Would have had fun with this one.
no ego, as you can see in Jonathan Jaffe's play. Had sort of set up a plan that he was going to be firing here and firing many, many turns, but just lets it go when faced with the check raise.
All right, we got 40 big blind poker.
Got stronger hands that he can defend against the check raise with, notably any hand with a pair and all his flush draws, king, queen and the like. Doesn't feel he needs to defend with a hand as weak as 9-4 suited. And it is Bryn who is off to the stronger start. Jonathan Jaffe, for all his millions of dollars, tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars, who knows, in cash game results in this format, only with 1 win out of 3 so far in the GPL. And here, firing out
21.
with 10 high, Bryn Kenney having flopped 2 pair.
I love how you call it 2 pair when it's 2 or bottom, because I like when I hear you saying 2 pair, I like instantly go, oh, he flopped 2 pair, and then it's just like, you know, 7s and 3s on a 7-3-3, or like deuces and 9s on a 9-9 deuce. I'm just like, you're too technical, bruv. It gets my attention though.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
it
I mean,
pulls
like,
you back.
oh
Back
yeah,
off
once I
Facebook.
hear 2 pair, I'm like, I'm here. Speaking of 2 pair,
Mate,
2 pair all around.
2 pair for Jonathan Jaffe.
And Jonathan Jaffe choosing to defend the 9-5, simply just ironically, since he's never worked a 9-5 in his life.
No, not anytime soon.
No.
Maybe not like us.
Oh no, not like us. To be fair, I mean,
We do a 3-1.
Yeah, but there's this kind of like Mela attitude here in Malta where I feel like the office hours here start around 10, go to 6. You know, it's better.
And
Race high.
Bryn fires again, recognizing the strength of the 2 pair here, kings and queens. That Jonathan will even call the flop with ace high.
Good river. As long as he doesn't have a king. There's...
Such confidence in Bryn Kenney's game. A lot of players would take out the flop, for instance, with this hand. Bryn Kenney aware that range against range, this is a hand where he can go for 3
Definitely a
streets.
decision here. You know, Bryn created a little metagame spot with that 1K bet on the flop.
Can I just
would
say,
be surprised if he went with this bet with a king. I would expect him to go bigger. A jack is certainly possible. It's possible he's value betting between 6s and 10s. This would also be reasonable with aces. And then, yeah, he's got a wide variety of bluffs. A lot of them having a gut ball, gutter shot on that turn. That's close. You know, he knows he's been running me down. I know it. I got that playing in both ways. Do I make a call? And I wouldn't put it past Bryn to value me, possibly even like ace-5. Tough decision. I'm going to say Mr. Bryn Kenney has pocket sevens. I'm going to let it go.
Wow, great stuff from Jonathan Jaffe. Oh, is it?
Am I?
Yes. Yes, does find the fold.
Such great poker here at the GPL. I love that Bryn is like sipping some sort of tea. Like I have this idea that it's just like, he's in Amsterdam. It's legal. It's just shrooms tea, you know. And he's just getting things done on a completely abstract, like, cerebral level.
Griffin Benja speculating that one of the GPL players is
Come
off
on,
his face on
it's
shrooms.
a bit.
But Jonathan Jaffe now with
definitely two options here: shoving and calling.
Oh, see, Bryn knows.
In general,
BK's world.
I'm more likely to shove. I think I'm going to call here, though.
Jonathan Jaffe dodging bullets. A lot of players would limp jam there with the ace high that doesn't flop too well. We can see that on this occasion, Bryn did have a dominating hand. Jonathan Jaffe,
one of the flops I'm not proceeding on.
Saving himself and living to fight another day. He is down to under 20 big blinds. Obviously, card distribution massively favoring Bryn Kenney up to this point. And again, it's the manager of the New York Rounders who flops best. In fact, dominating flop. Second pair against bottom pair, same kicker.
And we got to protect our hand too.
And Bryn going
good chances to do
tough turn for me here. Again, plenty of bluffs, but I'm letting this one go.
Bryn going for thin value.
Card. Don't want to give him a free card.
But Jaffe getting away once more. You can see that Jonathan's someone that's been in this kind of battle time and time again, not affected by the fact that Bryn's won the majority of pots, doesn't deviate from his well-crafted ranges. Fars the flop, and again, it's Bryn Kenney who has flop strongest. Second pair improving to a flush draw on the turn.
It really shows you how small the edges are, you know, between players of this caliber. Really, at this point, it's a card distribution thing. Bryn Kenney playing so well, Jaffe playing so well, but there's a reason why, you know.
Playing well in different ways. Bryn Kenney going for incredibly thin value with the queens. Absolutely great stuff from him.
Yeah.
Jonathan Jaffe playing in a very good way, you know, less glamorous way of making excellent, excellent folds.
Absolutely.
Not being sort of, not over-adjusting to Bryn Kenney's reputation.
For sure.
But it is the New York Rounder representing the top of the table side that he manages, who is off to the fastest start. And again, Jonathan Jaffe avoiding a potential cooler situation there, limp folding the king five, where again, less experienced players might opt to shove. And now it's Bryn's opportunity to dodge a bullet. Not shoving the 5-4, just limp folding. Has Jaffe up against the ropes.
Let's win the first all in. Close them out.
Queen 8, very, very close.
Yes.
But against someone who does have a limping range, Bryn thinks it's a fold. And Jonathan Jaffe with the ace high, obligated to make a call.
Flies are going around.
Ace on the turn. And it saves Jonathan Jaffe.
Luckbox another chance in this.
Real good fortune there.
It's the beauty of heads up sit and goes. You can get crushed the whole match win 3 all-ins, the money goes your way.
Yeah.
Or points.
The Squid Entity T-shirt proving it's worth some run good.
That's what I'm looking to do here.
In the direction of Jonathan Jaffe.
I was sending some seriously positive energy, I'm not going to lie.
Mate. We're absolutely pathetic in the booth. A little bit of flattery, a bit of a one like name drop from Jaffe, and suddenly we're his biggest
the
fans.
most biased, like, yeah.
So funny. So, match 1. We have 3 games of 3 matches here today. The first one, top of the table, New York Rounders, represented by their manager, Bryn Kenney, against bottom of the table, San Francisco Rush, represented by heads-up specialist, Jonathan Jaffe. 2 top poker talents. Neither player registered a win yet in the Global Poker League.
For anyone wondering what Squid and Entity is, some people might not even know.
Oh, Sam Squid is my PokerStars name, and Flush Entity is the screen name of former world number 1 Griffin Benja.
Unreal. Can't even.
We are former poker players ourselves, washed up on the shore of.
I won an EPT high roller once, buddy. What did you do?
And Bryn Kenney calling the check raise with Jack high on this board.
Jack spades.
Jonathan Jaffe check raising the gut shot. And is it part of his strategy to fire again here? This is obviously a board which is immensely favorable for Bryn's range. Although I assume Jonathan.
And I'm going to let him on me here.
Can we just discuss, by the way, for a second, that he's eating Oreos like KGB against the New York Rounders?
So sick.
Dude.
4 high against Jack high there. 3 bets going in. These are guys that battle for every single pot. Obviously, both of them play formats where edges are so small you can't let any pot go uncontested. Bryn Kenney, a mainstay of the high roller scene. Jonathan Jaffe, high stakes cash game player primarily. And it's Bryn Kenney with the advantage, 71k, out chipping his opponent 2-1. And Jonathan check raise. Not Oreos. And Jonathan Jaffe improving to a full house on the turn. And Kenney delaying the C-bet. Representing a kind of ace-high type hand. Maybe a strong 5 with a gut shot.
And here we're just going to try and make Bryn a hero. I'm going to go check raise shove. Nope.
Jonathan targeting different parts of Bryn's range. Obviously, Bryn just with the 10 high and gut shot, forced to fold. And Jonathan Jaffe very much very much still in this match. As he pointed out, these heads-up sit and goes, you can get absolutely crushed and then run good in the latter stages.
Bryn's had a pretty good balance here, 20 bigs. Could definitely go either way. I'm going to shove this one.
Jaffe picking the exact right moment. Bryn Kenney a little less exuberant than he was last time.
Yep.
Perhaps aware that, for for all the entertainment he gave us last time, he has to deliver in terms of points.
Yeah.
If New York Rounders,
A little. I mean,
are going to stay top in a very congested.
You know what? I think
America's
that
Conference.
some of the most successful poker players have a great, especially tournament ones, have a great kind of balance between these two different modes where. It's one like Mustafa Knit, for instance, where it's like he's very colorful, he's all into it, but then he has his like, his kind of end boss, like very Elias, Tony Gregg, kind of just like sitting at the table. I think he's way more concerned with someone like Jaffe, where maybe, in his first match, he maybe underestimated Pascal Lafrancois a little bit and decided he was just going to try to run him over. Didn't work out, and he's someone who has a great deal of pride in his abilities, so he's probably this time around just being like, okay, Jaffe, let's go to war. And a bit disappointed, I'm sure, that he, had him on the ropes and then wasn't able to finish him off early in this match.
For sure. If you're joining us late, Bryn did have Jonathan all in for his tournament live, dominating with pocket sevens against an ace 3. Bryn with top pair takes it down. I think Bryn will have a little sweat in JDPC. They will have at least had a little swap, won't they?
Definitely.
Jason Wheeler, who was going to play the New York Rounder, deep in WPT Amsterdam. Obviously, been a feature of these last few weeks. So many of the GPL representatives going deep in Monte Carlo first, then in the scoops.
Yeah, it's just a reality of the league. Right now these guys are still trying to make a living. It's going to happen. They're going to have to play some tournaments. There's going to have to be some 100Ks to win.
Listen, guys, Chance Cornuth needs some rent money. He has to still pay rent, doesn't he? So he's got to play those 10Ks and win.
Well, no, I mean, it's pretty much if he just wants to get a new down payment on a mansion, because every time he plays a 10K or 25K, he manages to win it. Chance Cornuth, an incredible year thus far. Just seems to be winning everything. Really happy for him. Really, he was one of the first guys I ever met in poker.
Yeah?
Yeah, and the first time I ever went to Vegas, it was like I don't know,
Great
6 years
start.
ago or something,
Good,
5 years ago.
Good pick for someone.
Yeah,
personally.
no, it was great. We went to the little, what's it called? Asian place. It was great. I remember vividly.
So Jonathan Jaffe with just 7
Pretty
high.
good flop for me since he's lacking all the biggest hands.
Yeah.
Can definitely take this one to the felt.
Jonathan, talking about something I was just about to mention. Obviously, we could see he is absolutely crushed in this spot against Bryn's actual hand.
Jack 9 and Queen 10. That's pretty tough turn for me now. Jack 9, Queen 10, and clubs were really the only big hands I would have had him potentially having on that flop. And with an ace of clubs, every jack turns into a straight. He has every jack from Jack 10 down, maybe Queen Jack down. So this is kind of my shutdown card. No significant blockers.
Great card here for Jaffe to get a chop if Bryn doesn't try to take it away from him.
Yeah, really interesting spot now. Really comes down to who has the most clubs, particularly who has the most King X of clubs. Although Bryn is not necessarily...
To say, you'd see a lot of shoves from him here because there's no reason to not shove if you're going to call an all-in, or really if you're going to call any bet of significance, which with my stack kind of puts him in a box here to jam a ton of things. And given, there's just the king of clubs, and we're starting to look at the next biggest club as the 9 of clubs. I don't know. He's got a really interesting spot whether to check or jam if he's between, the 7 and 8 of clubs. I think it's close, a little dynamic dependent. But this is a spot where he's going to jam so often, and I definitely feel a fold.
Jaffe folding, Bryn Kenney firing and winning the pot. Both players chopping there on that run out. Really interesting. And this is...
pretty easy all-in call for 10.
Yeah, 2 big hands and Bryn Kenney dominating.
Open-ended here.
Flop.
Double gutter for Jaffe.
Brick on the turn.
Turn, not so much.
9
River's all right.
on the river.
And a frustrated Bryn reacts to the
So
bad
that's
news.
2. So if you're counting at home, one more all-in, and I should win. If I don't win the next all-in, I don't know. I owe Bryn something.
Jonathan
I already
Jaffe
owe him something.
running good at the right time.
Some bacon brownies.
Definitely.
Regular brownies.
Definitely a caller there. Obviously might seem unusual to call an all-in with Queen High if you're a little newer to poker, but Jonathan does have to defend versus the shove with a wide range of hands there.
A wide range
depth
of
here for
value
King,
hands
Queen.
that are pretty strong.
Against
Queen 10.
Bryn, I'm going to make a metagame 3-bet call.
Jonathan Jaffe, Phil player, hashtag live pro, loving this.
Hashtag metagame.
Yeah, mate, this guy has won a WPT. You gotta have a bit of live pro in you.
Oh, I
to
watched
take
him.
down
I watched the entire final table of that. He played phenomenally. So fun to watch. More fun when he's wearing a shirt that represents my online poker name, though.
Loving it.
Loving it.
Hashtag
Squid Entity 16.
Let's get it trending, guys.
Yeah.
Monsters incoming.
And now things switching in the favor of Jaffe. Second time he's picked up a hand he can 3-bet. Bryn Kenney now out-chipped 2-1. Got to be frustrating for the New York Rounders manager, who has won the majority of hands here.
Yeah, definitely. Played. I mean, I don't think anything Jaffe's done anything wrong, but Bryn has definitely played extremely well in this match. So disappointed that he isn't able to put Jaffe away for at least at least 3 points for the Rounders.
Jaffe getting Bryn off the best hand. Ace-Jack highboard significantly favouring Jaffe's range, so able to make a light continuation bet. Jaffe eyeballing Bryn Kenney with the King 3. And Kenney can't get anything going here as the short stack. Bryn not biting with the 10-5, and Griffin Benja will be looking up for Facebook because Bryn Kenney has flopped 2 pair. And checks it again. Jonathan Jaffe.
Oh, disaster for the Jaffinator.
Can Bryn check it again?
Captain Cold.
He does check
man.
it again.
So sick.
Hashtag
so sick.
Yeah. Jonathan Jaffe counting out a bet for value. Bryn Kenney's going to have a lot of 5x and 7x here. But Bryn Kenney with 2 pair probably going to look to check jam against this overbet.
Can't wait to see his reaction here. This is going to be tough.
I mean,
so hood. Street poker with Bryn Kenney.
Doesn't even go all in. Offering Jaffe a very good price on a call.
So sick.
And this is a defining moment, perhaps, in this match. Jaffe, so confident with his hand strength when that jack comes on the river, improving to top pair, top kicker. And you see a little stretch from Jonathan Jaffe. For all his familiarity with this format, this is an immensely tough spot. He does feel obligated to call.
Good hand, good patience.
Two big hands heads up here. And we could see a raise and a shove. Could see raise and a call, but there's definitely more chips going in pre-flop here, Sam.
Mm-hmm. Ace-3, not a hand that flops particularly well, and these guys are short. But Bryn Kenney does take it to the streets.
Always going to take you to showdown, always going to take you to the streets. These guys are phenomenal heads-up performers here at the GPL.
And Bryn Kenney's hand remains best, but
And
Jonathan
this is
Jaffe
for sure bet call.
with a very, very strong draw. And Bryn Kenney, very unappetizing prospect to face a bet on this board, does fold the ace high, understandably. Again, Jaffe flopping best, top pair, and a gut shot to go with it.
Not a favorable flop for Bryn.
I don't know. Few problems with production there, just coming through. Those guys trying to sort out some replays for you guys in the breaks of some of our best matches. Jonathan Jaffe with a strong Broadway hand, taking the profitable shove spot. These guys both given everything in this match. Bryn Kenney betting out with top pair.
Time makes it low.
Jaffe
Match.
calling with bottom pair. And we have seen Bryn go for some thin value in this contest. Not going to be a huge amount of kings in Jaffe's range. That pretty bricky
tough turn
card.
for me here. Usually folding, thinking about whether I want a hero twice for a sprint if the river's good. I think that's what I'm going to do.
Jaffe
Not good.
heroing the turn. And pretty sick for Bryn to be considering a third barrel. Obviously, a lot of draws did miss for deuce, 6-4, 7-4, hearts, which didn't contain a 9 or king, jack 10 on the turn, queen 10. Sorry, not jack 10, but there are a lot of misdraws. Fars out the river, incredibly thin value bet. A sizing which offers Jaffe a very
One of the rivers I was
price.
looking for. I bet's 1/3 pot. Thought he would have shoved a 9 for value.
I don't think it's gonna call on a 9.
Let the time tick down.
That all in would have been good because it could have got him off those hands. Hopefully, it doesn't have that.
Incredible display of
Such a
value
good
betting here from
price.
Bryn Kenney.
He can just think that I don't want to go all in to lose all my chips.
We
Maybe
can
I'm
see he has the
bluffing.
best
Like
hand.
5 or 3 here where.
But would you really be firing out 3 times with 8-4?
9. Maybe if it was like a jack or 10, a queen.
Jonathan Jaffe, deep in the tank, does arrive at the right decision.
Yeah.
Blocking some of those straight draws with the 6. The 6-4, 6 deuce and the like. Does find the fold. See, of course, blocks one of the nut combos, but really, really disciplined fold there. And these guys level pegging, still nothing to separate the two of them. Bryn Kenney with 30% equity in this hand, 2 overcards and an up and down straight draw. Jonathan Jaffe checking back the queen 6.
Check fold. You could have us. Okay, we could just give up.
Wow. Raising in position to protect and get value from exactly the kind of holding Bryn Kenney has.
It's just too obvious. The 7.
Bryn folding 30% equity, a hand that was in great shape against the queen 6. Jonathan Jaffe, such astute play. Really, really interesting to see that raise in position. Something we've seen employed a couple of times.
By some really talented players. Makes me think it's something we need to start using ourselves.
And the turn will tell me whether I give up or follow through. Checking my sizing.
Bryn knows it's coming. The check raise on the 10-10-7. This is one of the tough things about value betting a hand as vulnerable and weak as ace queen. Not a great spot when you get check raised. He does defend though, and
that's one of my give up turns.
Yeah, Jonathan Jaffe with that 10 coming obviously cuts down the combo.
I like to give it more tank, but got to preserve the time bank
of 10x that he has. Forced to cede the initiative in this hand to Bryn Kenney. Jonathan indicating that there's a lot of turns he was going to fire. An 8, obviously, a diamond would all make sense. But this turn card has to give up. Jonathan with just 50 seconds in his time bank. Doesn't immediately relinquish. Maybe he's... No, he does fold.
Didn't want to let him have... Because he has like Jack 8 or Jack 9, let him get your free card.
Yeah.
Alright, I got it.
Nothing there.
Admiral Akbar's.
Do you want to say it?
Trying to just steal it.
I'll let you take the lead.
It's a trap. Revolutionizing poker nomenclature here at the GPL.
You got to do a little more like you have to understand, like, it's Admiral Akbar realizing that it's a trap set
by the way, like, let's get the production team on that. Can we get that as a little
I think
we should have that as a sound effect.
for sure.
Third time's a
But
charm.
it's more of a
And here we go. Jonathan Jaffe all in with the best hand, but Bryn Kenney flopping huge.
holding so far. 1 card to come for Bryn.
4 out for Jonathan Jaffe.
Good game. You earned that one.
Bryn Kenney finally getting it done on the 3rd all-in confrontation. 3 points for top of the table New York Rounders.
Bryn Kenney getting the job done, just tornadoing his way to a victory for the New York Rounders.
High-level graphics here, you know, displaying, summarizing what happened in that match. Bryn Kenney grinding Jonathan Jaffe down again and again. Eventually...
He's relentless, isn't he?
Yeah,
Bryn?
Eventually getting it done. 9-8 suited versus King Jack off. Lots of entertainment, lots of high-level poker.
Yeah, I think Bryn is someone that's just one of the most exciting players to watch. Perhaps the most exciting, the way he plays poker, of all the managers in the Global Poker League. We predicted that he would be a star. Again, a great Twitter account with @BrynKennyWorld. So he's a lot of fun to watch in any social media or on the felt. Great stuff from Bryn.
I mean, I said that first hand with the King Queen would be an indicator of how Bryn Kenney intended to play. Fired 3 times on a texture that was very favorable for Jonathan Jaffe, with really very few outs against some of the hands in Jonathan Jaffe's range, but got it done and didn't let up for the entire match. Obviously, card distribution somewhat favouring the New York rounder. But he certainly capitalised on it. Didn't get frustrated despite losing those couple of all-ins. Stayed patient and eventually got the job done. Still a huge amount to play for, though, because San Francisco Rush, bottom of the table, definitely don't want New York Rounders to secure 9 points. You know, as you always say, it's an 18-point swing if Jaffe were to, you know, not saying he is going to lose all 3 matches, but he really needs to battle for any points he can get.
Yeah, and the thing I think that's really important about Jaffe, too, is keep his control, you know? Oh, Jesus. Well, better be hitting that dusty trail.
Yeah,
that was a great moment that he did. Come on, when he slammed the desk.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing. The monitor's fine.
Obviously,
okay.
as with so many people, you know, in the poker community, we got so many great characters. Obviously, the type of people that get into poker, the kind of personalities it attracts, tend to be, you know, figures with a quirky personality who don't fit into the square everyday 9-to-5
social
life,
norms.
who will not put on a suit for $20 an hour.
No,
those kind of characters. Jonathan Jaffe, very much one of those guys. Someone with a real quirky personality, as we saw with the Squid Entity 16 hashtag Squid Entity 16 T-shirt, which we still don't know what it refers to. Yeah.
What are you referring to? I have no idea what you're talking about. There was a T-shirt?
There was a T-shirt. So what did you think overall? Do you think that Jonathan's going to be able to mount a comeback here?
Yeah, I think that there's a very, very small skill gap between these two, and I'm not even sure which way it goes.
That's
I think that you know, a part of me wants to say that over the long term, maybe Jonathan Jaffe's a better pure heads-up player, but the way that Bryn plays hands in these small sample sizes and knows how to play his game and adjust, I mean, these guys are both just incredible.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no way to say.
In general, Bryn is most famed for his achievements in the world of multi-table tournaments, online and live. But this is a guy that plays cash games as well. This is a guy that plays all the games. Obviously, I think his bracelet came in the 8-game format. You know, a bracelet which really puts to the test your all-round poker prowess. You know, he's someone that I think believes he can excel in any format, and he's really, you know, given us an example of that in that last match.
Yeah, and again, Bryn is just. He's a maniac. It's great. It's just it is a lot of fun to watch. I mean, Jaffe, you know, this is someone that he can potentially have trouble with, and I think that's really the exciting thing about watching them.
Yeah, this is real top-class poker. We've got 2 matches to come in this contest. 3 overall matches today. Still a lot of poker to be played.
I think we are going to be going to the match.
Yeah,
I think they're all ready to go for round 2.
Let's see the guys in action again. Hashtag BK's World. Hashtag Squid Entity 16. And a new T-shirt with a cockerel and San Francisco Rush. Pretty sick.
What's the subtext, though?
You know what's
the subtext?
You know what's embarrassing is, like, obviously I do know a bit. I do know something about poker, but I feel like when I know Jonathan Jaffe is hearing me talk about it, he must just be like, no, that's wrong. Like, we're saying something.
No,
like,
I know. That's why I don't talk during his matches.
Yeah. Well, we can't just be silent in reverence.
Well, they're the ones who we're supposed to be talking to, right?
No, but what I'm saying is, like, it's pretty.
Sure.
It's so difficult with someone of Jaffe's capabilities to kind of
Well, you know what?
understand.
Give yourself a little credit, too. It's so difficult to have the humility to leave our multi-million-dollar job per year as professional poker players and experts. I mean, combined, we have over $10 million in cash.
I don't know about
$10 million in cash between us.
I don't know about you. I'm just living off the interest.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing, too.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, you may have been world number 1, but have you ever been UK Poker Personality of the Year, mate? I mean, we're really talking. We're really.
I got third in a in the Counter-Strike representing Canada in Singapore.
Wow.
I have a Team Canada jacket and everything. So I mean.
Griffin. Guess I got it a little bit too low on the shirt there.
Conscious.
Let's see if it shows up.
Conscious cockerel.
I don't know if you can read it.
Conscious Jonathan Jaffe. So meta, this boy. Referring, of course, to how he corrected Griff and told him he was indeed arrogant when it came to poker skills. Bryn Kenney with the ace-9, probably weighing up whether to value bet himself or go for a check raise. Decides on the overbet sizing. What with 4-6, 4-5, and a lot of heart draws missing. Jonathan with the 2 pair finds the quick fold. And Bryn Kenney with the ace-queen, certainly a hand that most players will re-raise pre-flop for value, knowing he can get called by a lot of hands he dominates. 10-9 does have a lot of playability, and indeed Jonathan doesn't fold, and Kenney nails this flop. What do you think, Griff? 94% equity for the New York rounder. Fars out and Jaffe obviously releasing. If this is your first time watching GPL, call here with 6-5 is pretty standard. Obviously, if you're folding too many hands pre-flop, your opponent can just raise from the button relentlessly and wear you down just by picking up pots uncontested. You do need to stick around from the big blind. Different players have different strategies, some defending in the 90% region, others way less than that. 95% even in case.
Try a different strategy this game. Try and win a couple pots before the all-ins. Maybe I have more chips. Maybe an all-in wins the game.
Jonathan referring to the fact that Bryn Kenney
Might
made
not work out.
all the running in the last match. Bryn checks back his king high. Got the 8 of hearts to increase his chances of being able to show this down. And Jonathan Jaffe very much aware that his king 7 not going to be good when Bryn takes this line and does turn it into a bluff on the river, getting Bryn Kenney off at king 8 high. The kicker would have played there.
Bryn with the big pocket 10s now. Still early on here in this match.
Yeah, and Jonathan's saying he wants to win some pots before the all-in portion of the match. Not going his way so far. And I hope for Jaffe's sake he's not considering a fallback. Does release the 7 high. Two pretty weak holdings here, but Jonathan Jaffe defending 10 high. Once again, Bryn Kenney connecting strongest with the flop. Also a board where he's going to have way more aces and kings. Fars out, picks up another small pot. And, you know, although there's been no big confrontations between these two players, Bryn Kenney does have a comfortable chip lead at this moment.
That's a good flop.
Bryn starting strong in both matches here and now getting the flop of his dreams.
Kenney checks again. Won't be too concerned with Jonathan having a full house here. Likely Jonathan would bet a 4 or 5 at some point in the hand. Bombs the river. 2.5 times pot. Jonathan very aware that his range pretty weak and pretty defined as a kind of ace high, king high, queen high type range. Anything better than that, he would have bet before now. Does call with the queen high.
Good bet.
Little value town.
Population, Jaffe.
And the cock-conscious Jonathan Jaffe off to a bad start here. Again, wow. And as I say that, though, he has flopped really strongly for pretty much the first time in this second match.
Yeah, and for really, I mean, the first time in the first match. I mean, he hasn't really been smashing too many boards, Jaffe. Nice that he's able to flop with the Jack 3 here, but some more equity here for Bryn Kenney.
Yeah, and Bryn
takes down one of them Amsterdam smoothies.
You're probably going to imagine, might be tempted to check back here. If he doesn't, obviously he's gone for thin value bets.
Definitely like check calling a turn here versus Bryn. He's got, for sure, some lighter value bets on a brick river. And check raising here while the board's starting to get hairy really creates a tough river situation on probably about 30% of rivers. So I like check calling, and all the dry rivers we're going to check call.
Yeah.
That's not too dry. So that one becomes a decision.
That is a very wet river, and a river where, what's the metaphor here? Well, river where Bryn Kenney has gone over the waterfall and landed in a boat. I don't know. He has a straight on this river.
And Bryn is laughing with his flatmate, maybe a girlfriend, maybe a teammate. He's laughing.
Maybe
and now he's saying, get out of here, because I'm trying to work.
I feel fairly good about calling this one. Correctly so.
Do you think that's someone asking you advice on a hand? Bryn just having a quick cigarette.
Yeah, he's just having a recreational time.
Just a huge chip.
You know,
I'm gonna make it.
No,
don't really want to get into why. It's kind of personal.
Jonathan Jaffe making
this is a good spot.
The very personal decision to shove
it's a
pocket
trap.
Very good
Luck
spot.
bars.
And flopped
The best spot, actually.
Dead.
Stone dead.
Flush won't do it. Bryn Kenney with the ace of diamonds. It's going to be 6 points for Bryn Kenney and the New
All right,
York Rams.
got to dodge the broom.
Cock conscious or not, Jonathan Jaffe defeated in a second match.
Yeah, Bryn Kenney obviously playing great. Jonathan Jaffe, things not going well for him. Obviously having a lot of fun, I mean, on the stream, really breaking the fourth wall. It's fun to watch. It's fun to see. And I'm hoping that he is going to avoid the sweep and avoid the broom.
Yeah, you got to feel for Jonathan Jaffe. Things really not going his way. You know, we said I got excited for him. First time he flopped strongly with the Jack 3 against pocket nines. But you'll see the difficulty of playing someone like Bryn Kenney in that spot. Bryn Kenney with the pocket nines turned an open-ended straight draw on the turn. Jack 10-8, I believe it was.
Jack 10-3-8.
Yeah, Jack 10-8. And you know, a lot of players
8, 3, 10,
would check it back there. Like, you know, he can win at showdown. He can bluff catch a lot of rivers, and he has a strong draw. Not appetizing to be faced with the check raise. But Bryn continued to barrel with the worst hand, built the pot, and when that 7 comes in, can get max value because the pot's already bigger. Jonathan paying off, flush draw missed, king queen missed, a whole other host of draws. And, you know, the pot went in the direction of Bryn. And that set up a situation where they could get all in aces against threes.
Yeah, this match happening a little quicker than the last one. But, you know, Bryn had them all in for 2 different times in the first match as well. So, you know, Jaffe obviously disappointed. He's been on his way to maybe a sweep from the likes of Bryn Kenney, but Bryn is playing excellently.
Yeah.
He's medicating when he needs to. He's really making sure that he's ready for this match.
He's maybe we can only hope that for Jonathan's sake, maybe he'll be a bit more hazy come the third match and won't be as sharp on his game.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
But the point is the San Francisco Rush, okay, great team, okay. Tony, you got your Tony Gregg there. You got your Phil Galfon. You got your Jonathan Jaffe. But they are not delivering in terms of points at the moment. Phil Galfon unexpectedly swept in the second week by Jason Mercier, not registering a single points.
$10. Mercier.
Jared Jaffe, one of the best heads-up players in the world, in the reckoning of many, defeated in his first contest by Thiago Nishijima of the Sao Paulo Mets and defeated here against Bryn Kenney. We should remind people each match is worth a separate 3 points. So, it's very important to win this third match for Jonathan. If he can secure 3 points, it only increases the gap from the New York Randers by 3. If he's defeated here, it's a 9 points increase in the gap the New York Randers have over San Francisco Rush.
Yeah, again, 18-point swing in these matches so far, all coming up Bryn. Love to see him get all Taz. He getting crazy. We going to match soon?
He's got his boy
playing
deep
Captain Cold. This bit not landing as hard, but watch some DC's Legends and tomorrow you'll see what I'm talking about.
I was referring to JDPC deep in WPT Amsterdam.
I know. Yeah, he's great. He's doing great. He's always doing great.
Yeah, so, in general, things have gone so smoothly for the New York Rounders. That controversy over him picking Tyler Kenney as his wild card, immediately put to bed by the incredible performances of Tyler Kenney, delivering huge numbers of points in the Six-Max format. Bryn just absolutely loving life. This year he's already won a 100K tournament. He's kicking back. He's in his apartment. He's in Amsterdam. He's getting aces over threes. Hashtag BK's World.
At Bryn Kenney World. Can he pull off the sweep, though?
Are you behind the at Bryn Kenney World account?
No.
Let's put the rumors to bed right now.
I'm not.
I'm putting you on the spot.
No, I'm not.
Real talk, hard-hitting interview. Are you behind the at Bryn Kenny's World?
No, absolutely not. I'm telling you. Why would I have things to do. I have a job.
He has things to do other than creating fake accounts. It's hard to be the man they call flush_entity and the man in the hot seat, Griffin_Benja.
Bryn Kenney World is Bryn Kenney's Twitter account.
Okay.
So if anyone wants to follow him, he's got some great insight. A genius level sense of humor, if you ask me.
And speaking of genius level sense of humor, what do you think of the second Jonathan Jaffe T-shirt? What was it?
I didn't notice
was it. A cockerel and conscious?
What is a cockerel? Like a rooster?
Like a rooster.
Yeah, I didn't catch it.
Okay.
I saw the little San Francisco Rush thing.
Were you on Facebook again during
No,
the match?
No. Oh, the rooster where it said conscious below it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really get it.
Didn't get it?
No. Are we going to the match soon?
Yeah, I'm looking to you first. I'm looking for you some hard-hitting analysis.
Hard-hitting analysis. Okay. Am I Bryn Kenney World? No. Did I notice these shirts? You're saying he's wearing shirts?
Do we have Eric Denis in the lounge?
No. But you know who we do have? Laura Cornelius.
But I don't think she's. I think she's.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
Stay with us, guys.
Yeah, no,
Any
please.
moment now. Bryn Kenney, as we said, just doing what Bryn Kenney has to do. He needs a little bit of a break. Maybe being told off by our producers. I don't want to speculate. But for the moment, we have hard-hitting analysis with Griffin Benja, just taking care of things. But I'll tell you what, Griff. Enough of your analysis. I know you want to talk more. Let's go over to the match where the boys are ready to get the cards in the air.
Let's go.
All right, here we go. Game 3. Got him right where I want him. Operation Broom Dodge. Completely set up for just a summer.
This is unbelievable. The
third
third shirt here.
Perfection.
I can't dodge this one.
Ever. It really couldn't have gone any better. So.
This is the third shirt. Impossible for me to dodge here. Sportify Tokers.
Oh yeah, I wanted to show the shirt. But I suppose that's enough.
The New York Rounders. Hashtag Sportify Tokers. Sam, you haven't said one thing since you've seen the shirt. I feel like you're just dumbfounded.
Thought I was playing Jason Wheeler today, so I made sure he was the feature. But we got Bryn in there.
Different class from.
These guys like to have a good time.
The man, Atari. should have had Kev McPhee in there as well. Jonathan Jaffe, real character. Have you ever see those interviews where he pretended he was like a professional dolphin trainer or whatever, and the Poker News reporter?
I mean, we should have known, really, ever since that.
We knew this guy was going to be a bit of a goofball. Bryn Kenney, 3-betting the King Jack suited, takes it down. 3 matches, 3 T-shirts, but at the moment, 0 points for Jonathan Jaffe.
And it really shows the difference between the kind of, performer that Jonathan Jaffe is compared to Bryn Kenney. Jaffe has had 3 different shirts in this match. Bryn Kenney, not even 1.
3 shirts to 1 in favor of Jonathan Jaffe. Looking for the sweep.
Is it considered a shirt if it's a...
3 shirts.
By the way, what's the proper term for a shirt like that? Because
vest.
we call it...
Vest.
Do you know what we call it in North America? It's a wife beater.
No, come on.
No, that's what I'm asking.
That's not appropriate. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking what you call it, because it shouldn't be called that, obviously. I'm trying to help you change the culture here. What, you just want to ignore what people call things?
I think,
how do we change things?
Notice is
ignore them?
Bryn is just 2Xing here, which I'm going to say is not a strategic move. I think this is a man who's crushing his opponent so hard that he doesn't want to lean forward to type the keys, which I can respect. I've been there. Maybe not in the last 6 years, but I remember what it was like to give someone a pounding the way he is to me. I have faint memories.
John the Jaffe, we got a spot in the booth for you, mate. If you're on
Definitely.
if you're on a downswing, GPL is like a floating life raft for washed-up poker players. We've already got Joe Chung, Dwight Pilgrim.
By the way, incredible work the last few days.
Joe Chung is
top
is form.
Unbelievable.
Some people say the production is falling apart, but Joe Chung working his butt off.
Yeah, Joseph, for those of you unaware,
former November Niner,
finished 3rd, punting off with
part
the ace at rag.
Part of the GPL production team.
To Jonathan Duhamel, has fallen on tough times.
And Bryn Kenney has rivered a pair. Jonathan Jaffe targeting the ace-high portion of Bryn Kenney's range. Kenney getting out his, truncheon and bag, his nightstick.
I was going to say
taking him to showdown.
I was going to say getting out his cockerel.
Getting in the van, putting Jonathan Jaffe in the metaphorical police van. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. And taking Jaffe to showdown. And once again, Bryn Kenney off to a good start. In terms of ironic clothing, Jonathan Jaffe, top of the poker table. In terms of points in the GPL, San Francisco Rush are really struggling.
I think we can see from Bryn's setup that he's giving this, the full attention, making sure like he doesn't miss a detail with me. I'm sure he's got an advanced scout. I've got one. Grinding the laptop.
Family man.
Just no stone unturned.
Jonathan Jaffe, I mean, he would crush in the commentary booth. Let's just put that.
Yeah, that's definitely a river we're going to bet.
And here goes Jonathan Jaffe, 5 high against ace high. I mean, what a dynamic between these two bosses.
You're up a 9.
I just want to remark Tyler TNS remarks on Twitch. Really not going out on a limb to say that anybody doesn't like to lose. I mean, people who like to lose are probably not a high percentage of the population. That is a huge sports cliche, and here we are trying to sportify poker. I will never say again he doesn't like to lose, because who does? Do you like to lose, Sam?
And Bryn Kenney check raising with the best hand on the river.
Definitely be an interesting spot if I had showdown equity. I don't think it's worth it enough to rebluff him here.
Jonathan Jaffe.
Especially given he's actually probably about 20% to rebluff. But
wow.
I don't know what I would do with ace high here. Feels pretty bullshit. You're suspect, Bryn.
Wow, brilliant. You hear that, Bryn? You're a suspect in his case. He's going to bring you in, Bryn, and he's going to take you to showdown.
And Jonathan Jaffe firing 3 times and getting check raised on the river. Real high-level stuff.
Killing me. Even quarter pot. Got a full 9 high there. Cinco de Mayo, I was taking it to a piñata and kind of feeling some regret about that now. Being on the other side, it's just like, maybe I shouldn't have been hitting so hard.
Jonathan Jaffe on top form. And
one of the better turns.
Jaffe picking up a flush draw.
It's a pretty good follow-through situation for me on a lot of rivers. I'm going to go on the smaller end here and then bottom river.
And Bryn Kenney, pocket fives, shriveling in value here with a third overcard appearing. There are a lot of draws out there, 7-9, 9-10, Queen 10.
Wow, Bryn is still good here.
Is actually a river I'm not bombing.
And
Jack and 8 were the toughest too.
Tilted here.
Constable.
Hey, do you mind
Kenny
getting that charge? I don't know how to get this to it. I'm at 8 minutes battery. I'll just move over to that side. Thanks.
Will Jonathan Jaffe fire? He doesn't.
Oh man, tough times.
And that was a hand Bryn would quite possibly have folded versus a river bet. Jonathan doesn't pull the trigger, and Bryn Kenney off to a great start yet again. This is a man who travels the world, respects different culture. When he's in Italy, he's going to have a pizza. If he's in England, he's going to have a cup of tea. And when he's in Amsterdam, he's going to try on some clogs.
Yep.
Take a photo of a windmill. Plant some tulips.
Exactly.
Respect.
Yep. Plant some weeds, and you know.
And both players here turning a flush draw. Bryn Kenney's hand pretty strong and with some showdown value. May not opt to bet, but when there's a choice between a passive and an aggressive option, we've seen Bryn, and he does fire here. And look at this, he does actually have the best hand and the best draw betting there on the turn.
Pretty tough run out. 4-6 being one of his bluffs. Tough to see me winning here. Only beating a basically no equity barrel from like a Queen 10.
See, I told you off to say no equity.
Check raise, which is reasonable, given that I'm check calling a 9 on the turn usually on this drive board. But I'm not going to go for it here because I want to take my punishment slowly.
You can see that Bryn Kenney, one of the downsides to his approach is that he's obviously bluffing with the A7 high, but actually has the best hand. And, if the card distribution had been slightly different, perhaps would have got punished for these strategies. Jonathan had, obviously, again, when he turned the ace-3 into a bluff, Jonathan just had the 5-3 high. There are ways that this match could have gone, which would have been very favorable for Jonathan Jaffe.
This is one of the tightest checkbacks I'll make here. I don't bet this spot.
Sick check back from Jonathan Jaffe. Bryn looking for the check raise.
Bryn looking for the sweep.
$30 big blinds versus an aggressive player. I see this as a pretty fair trap.
Jaffe check raising the queen 10.
If my kicker is just a little bit lower, I don't like it, especially 9-10. I want to cover at least one of the overcards, given how damaging the turn can be to my hand.
And again, Jonathan turning a strong draw.
He's definitely got a real lack of kings here. This is a pretty fair barrel off with 10 of hearts also. Got a lot of rivers I can let rip.
Jonathan continually lining up the 3 barrels. Bryn in very relaxed mood here, very chilled.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, just chilling out. Just chilling out, smoking his opponent. And I just feel like the thing that he's, you know, it's just been such a good match so far. And for whatever reason, Jaffe's just not able to weed through the bullshit and just get to
while
where
I'm
he's
getting
going, you know what I'm
beaten
saying?
around by Bryn. He really is a fun opponent. Thinking against him is pretty different than most opponents because he's not just trying to flaunt his knowledge of the game and outplay you technically. Bryn will really take you to the streets and make you think outside the box. He's really metagamey, which I like and respect. I think with all the emphasis on technical skills today, you know, the real money is made on day ones of big tournaments and in backroom cash games. And that is all about how well you play hood poker. And Bryn definitely has that kind of game. And that's why, you know, he's been around like 10 years. I think Bryn and I met online. Sound like a love story now, but like 10 years ago in an 11 rebuy or something. And kind of funny how we both lasted.
Well, Bryn's lasted. I'm not sure about you, Jaffe. Yet, you're suspect.
You come into our office, we'll decide whether or not you're still around, okay, pal?
Great story there from
Yeah,
Jonathan.
definitely.
Obviously, so many of the GPL guys have great respect for each other. And as Jaffe says...
And I think this is him going for a second value bullet with like a 9.
Whoa.
I don't know, maybe a 6 even.
What hand reading skills from Jaffe. You know, these guys, such respect for each other. 10 years in the game, it's not easy to do.
No, dude. I lasted 5 barely, and that's just because I ran good. Ran well, pardon me.
And Bryn Kenney, you know, for all the affection we have for Jonathan's contribution to this match in terms of entertainment, Bryn Kenney has him out-chipped.
Really close there versus just a 2x.
3-1.
The only thing contributing me to a fold there is that he has a pretty significant limp range, which has proved to be maybe all weak hands. So that really strengthens his raising range there. 24 bigs. I think I'm just barely folding a 5-7 off. And I'm going to limp call this. I just want him maybe think I'm thinking about some other things.
Another glimpse of that great T-shirt. Bryn Kenney and Jason
Show
Wheeler.
you my relatives.
Wow. Is that... What was that in the tank?
I think those were lobsters with it?
Yeah. No, not.
Right.
And
Pretty good flop.
Jonathan nailing this flop, as he acknowledges. 2 pair, and Bryn Kenney only with facing 1 overcard. It's going to feel reasonably confident. The 9s.
And I don't raise this because
the
it's
best hand.
pretty difficult to balance. We're going to be floating with so many hands here that I think we have to call with this one.
And Bryn Kenney turning a boat. Equities switching in the favor of the New York Rounders, now a 95% favorite, and Jonathan Jaffe in a world of trouble here.
Pretty easy call. Again, I actually see basically no sense in raising. You would have to think that, I mean, he would have to put me on a borderline no equity bluff or taking like a 8-5 or 7-5 suited and turning it into a bluff. Trying to be calling with worse.
Jonathan keeping Bryn's
still got the
range
river to play.
wide.
So I'm going to call.
Can't know
And it'll
what
probably
trouble
be a
he's
hero
in.
situation on the river.
And we can only hope that
That
card
river definitely makes things interesting.
helps Jonathan Jaffe, because he is in deep trouble here. Bryn Kenney with the full house.
The way Bryn approaches these spots, I was thinking we were going to see a really high shove percentage there. Honestly, I think he has me beat. The bluffs are between having absolute nothing, you know, a king deuce kind of hand. Jack queen's possible. I don't see that as him raising a limp. Same with king jack, king queen. King queen may be the most plausible out of them. I really think he has an overpair. I don't really understand this bet if he has an overpair, but that's been my read. I was feeling like it was going to be a incorrect hero on the river if it was a brick, but I was going to make it. But at this point, I mean, this is turning a 7 into a bluff is really the only thing that makes logical sense, or 2 bricky hearts. I just don't see either one being the case. I really think he thinks I have enough 9s and 10s that he should take this line with jacks through aces.
Jonathan Jaffe.
Could be completely wrong, but that's the only thing I can logic out.
Such a strong hand reader.
You instead.
Does find the fold on the river. And Jonathan...
Really close here. You know, he hasn't made any shove that I would have considered too light. His 9-8 suited was 10 big blinds, perfectly normal. It's really, really borderline. Jack queen, I think I call, and queen 10 versus Bryn, what I've seen. I like folding.
Jonathan Jaffe getting away from the queen 10 high. Slightly snug fold. And he fights on, looking to get 3 points, much needed points for San Francisco Rush. You got to feel for Jonathan, contributed so much to this match, on the verge of getting swept by the manager of the New York
There was a
Rounders.
broom behind me. It's definitely looming over me. Shit.
Jonathan obviously still happy.
Not playing in the kitchen anymore.
and in good spirits, but got to feel troubled by the way
Bryn
this
sent
match
the clear message.
is panning out.
Sit in the kitchen, kiddo.
Kitchies.
Woo, doggy.
Jonathan finally finding a hand. But Bryn, with just 7 high, doesn't make the call. San Francisco Rush and Jonathan Jaffe on the precipice here of being swept. Would mean a huge swing in the favor of New York Rounders, who started the day 13 points ahead of the struggling San Francisco franchise. Jaffe all in with 8 high, snapped off by Jack high.
Go.
Not a good flop for him.
Not
Needs
my
a
best
7
flop.
or an 8.
No, 8's no good.
Oh, 7 only. Jeez.
GG.
All right, the ass whooping is complete. I'm going to try and avoid eye contact with Bryn at World Series, and I hope that was fun for you guys.
Thanks very much, Jonathan.
Good games.
Very lax, Bryn Kenney. 9 points.
Yeah, very unlucky for Jonathan Jaffe there of the LA Sunset. Swept by Bryn Kenney of the Rounders, the manager. Really things not going his way. Do you think he did anything wrong?
No, Jonathan Jaffe, obviously a guy who knows the heads-up game. Has an incredibly strong heads-up game. Knows exactly what he's doing. Sweet, smart, and sardonic on the web camera. Real. Going to be a real fan favorite.
For sure.
Won our hearts today with such amusing anecdotes, respect for Bryn Kenney, stories, and, shared so much with us. But Bryn Kenney getting stuff done.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
The New York Rounders.
Honestly, I mean, I think this was the best version of Bryn Kenney. I think the Bryn Kenney that everyone was introduced to.
Well, there was something different about his mentality today.
Yeah.
There was something that just helped him kick back. He was relaxed and in the zone.
Yeah. He was almost. It was this great combination of just being like really chilled out, but being high energy and just really like the way he played in the game.
Must have been those tulips he planted earlier in the day.
Yeah.
A great respecter of Dutch culture.
Absolutely.
Bryn Kenney, and the New York Rounders. Really. The story of this first 6 weeks, top of the table. Marchese delivering, Tyler Kenny delivering, Jason Mercier. Haven't seen him many times. Swept Phil Galfond, really one of the most amazing things
Bryn Kenney,
we've seen in the first couple of weeks.
Yeah,
and now Bryn Kenney kicking into high gear.
Yeah, these guys have been smoking their opponents like crazy each and every week, and it's really fun to watch. Personally, for me, and I know for you, a lot of these guys. They're really the good fellas, the hood poker. They take people to showdown. They take them to the streets. And if we're running a precinct, we need to get these guys in here because they are running wild on the streets right now. and they don't play by the rules.
Perfectly summarized by Jonathan Jaffe, who, if he continues that form, is going to be here in season 2, replacing one of us. But perfectly summarized, he said, Bryn Kenney, with all the emphasis on a technical game, you need someone who's got something extra special, who can accumulate massive stacks on day ones of tournaments by fully exploiting weak opponents, can make money in cash games and side games. Real respect there for Bryn Kenney. And he, more succinctly than either of us, summarized what makes Bryn Kenney a very special talent in the world of poker.
Yeah, I think Bryn was, did exactly what he wanted to do. Came in there, just really cleaned up Jaffe's mess, just swept him right under the rug, and he's all done for the day.
Yeah, and so Bryn is relaxing at home with a cup of coffee. Let's go over to Lounge, where we'll find the equally relaxed Laura Cornelius.
At Bryn Kenney World. #BK's World.
I'm so relaxed. Congratulations to the New York Rounders and to Bryn Kenney. It's a clean sweep. 9 points. Bryn Kenney, congratulations to you. Tell us what your secret is.
Secret? I'm not sure, but that was fun winning all 3.
Yeah, I think it's last time you played it was against Pascal and Francois. You lost 2-1. Have you been getting some heads-up practice?
No, but someone with pride like me can't be losing heads up twice in a row. So happy at least I 3-0'd this time too. Come back with a bang.
Jaffe had a lot of praise for you, actually. He said he enjoyed playing against you because you think outside the box. Have you got any love for him?
Yeah, no, he's a very good player. So I mean, back when he was playing on Poker Stars all the time, I wouldn't sit him in a 5K heads up match. So he's a very good player for sure.
And talk to me about the rest of your team, because obviously your brother Tyler has been doing really well for the Rounders. Marchese did as well. Why did you want to pick your brother for your team?
Because he was motivated about it. He liked it. So I asked him if he was passionate about it, if he wanted to get involved, and he really did. He's been watching a lot and studying, and he's been running good too. And it's great. He's been crushing. He's been crushing the most on the team, I guess, so far, for sure.
We were talking yesterday how with some of the players, the ones that there's not that much pressure on, they've been performing the best. And then ones that there is more pressure on, they haven't been performing so well.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the best thing about poker, and that's why people love to play poker, because the best players can lose on any given day, and the skill difference isn't so much between the players in this anyway, and blinds are always going up, so your edge isn't even so much, no matter if you're the better player. And then they really feel the pressure when people expect them to win, and then they're losing to players who other people and they think are much worse. So it can be a confidence rocker.
You stepped in last minute for Jason Wheeler. How's he doing in the WPT?
I think he's got like average stack with 70 players left about, so not bad. Hopefully he wins that.
And we have to ask you, the Twitter, BK's World, that's not you, is it?
No, it's not me.
Do you know who it is?
Yeah, I think it's actually someone in your studio.
Yeah, we weren't sure. Right, now the cat's out of the bag. Right, thank you very much. We're going to clear this up once and for all, BK's World. How's Amsterdam, last of all?
Amsterdam's great. That's why I got back last minute. The weather's been incredible the last 5 days, and loved the city. It's been great.
All right, well, enjoy it some more, and we will see you soon. Congratulations once again. The New York Rounders flying now, 73 points. You are 10 points clear of the Nationals.
Of course, that's how we do it.
All right. So lax, so chill.
Ciao.
Bryn Kenney, thank you. New York Rounders then doing fantastically well. They are now 10 points clear of the Montreal Nationals, who are in second place. But the Nationals will be playing up next. Jason Lavallee is the wild card for the Nationals. He will be up next, and he will be facing Sao Paulo Mets' Darren Elias. That's our next match, coming at 3:30 p.m. Eastern and 9:30 p.m. Central European time. There they are. We saw Lavallee in action a little while ago, and Elias we saw at the start of the GPL. He is back for Andre Akari's team. As we say, that is match 59. Can't believe we have had that many matches now. Absolutely crazy. Some great hands in that last match of poker. And we have Fedor Holz and, of course, Jonathan Duhamel. They will be facing off against each other at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 a.m. Central European Time. That is LA Sunset's Maria Ho's team. Fedor Holz making his debut in heads-up play. We've seen him a few times in Six Max, but of course heads-up is this evening. And then Jonathan Duhamel we have seen in action this week. He didn't fare so well this week. He only managed to score, well, I don't think he scored any points in the Six Max. He came 6th place, in fact. So he will be wanting redemption for sure, I imagine. We're going to head back over to the desk because I think we're going to have a nice key hand, maybe just one key hand of that very first match of the evening between New York Rounders, Bryn Kenney, and San Francisco Rush, Jonathan Jaffe. San Francisco really struggling now, right at the bottom of the table, failing to get any points in that first match of the day. Over to you, boys.
Thanks, Laura. I'm Griffin Benger. This is Sam Grafton. It was our first match of the day, and it was a sweep. We have a hand of the match coming up. What do you think? You know what it is. It's the River Check Raise by Bryn Kenney, who seemed to play every spot perfectly in this match, included here. Really patient. He only started the hand with about 12 big blinds, flopping huge, and just waiting for Squid Entity to hit something in this first match.
Yeah, waiting his opponent out. Obviously, on the turn, the board does get dicey. You're going to want to protect from 8s and 4s. But Bryn Kenney, recognizing that Jonathan Jaffe's check-back range is not many draws, mainly weak pairs or ace highs, checks flop, turn, and even checks the river in order to try and extract max value, realizing that Jonathan Jaffe does have some king jacks, ace jacks in his range. Also some bluffs he might delay all the way to the river, some king highs he might turn into a bluff. Checks and checks and checks, and not, you'll notice, put off by the overbet sizing. Bryn Kenney is familiar with high-stakes games where overbets are not out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
A lot of our players, I think, would be shook by this overbet sizing because it's so polarized and might elect to just abort mission and check call. But Bryn Kenney going for the max value all in.
Yeah, as you can see here, no, he didn't actually go all in. He made it 16-4. But the thing about this raise that's so great is that I think that, like you said, when it was happening, you said, doesn't even go all in, where it's a spot you would think he would just shove, try to go for the max. Instead, he just makes it a little under 10,000 chips, being like, come on, Jonathan, get over here. And it ends up working out. The thing that's so special about it, too, is that, like you said, it's against an overbet. And a lot of the time when someone's facing an overbet, they're extremely polarized. Jaffe knows that ace-jack is going to be huge in this spot, and he wants to really polarize himself, but still Bryn goes for the check raise. Not a lot of players capable of that. So many different aspects of that hand that make it interesting. Bryn knows that he wouldn't check back 8-9 on at least the turn, let alone the flop. That's what he's repping, is the nuts. But Jaffe knows he can overbet, as like this is the best hand so often, still gets check raised, still calls. So many cool things going on in this match.
It was a great match. I mean, I love Bryn Kenney, and I'm beginning to love Jonathan Jaffe.
Beginning? I mean, you're already in love with the guy. Come on. It's over. Hook, line, and sinker.
Obviously,
listen, if you want to get dinner
very
with
subtle sense of humor as well, which I know we really enjoyed. Coming up with, a man after your own heart, coming up with little bits and, some props.
He may be elevating my game a bit here, actually.
For the fans, yeah. I mean, we don't even have free T-shirts to give away here on the stream, and he's producing his own. So absolutely loving that. It was a real exciting match.
Maybe he's even a fan of the stream. Maybe he watches it regularly.
It's possible. It's possible. Yeah. It seems like he told us in one of the interviews that he was involved right from the word go, that Faraz had actually lined him up as the wildcard selection before they even picked the rest of the team. So he's obviously someone that's deeply involved with the San Francisco Rush franchise and with the GPL. And, it'll hurt him as a specialist that we've really hyped up, as potentially one of the very, very strongest in this format, that he hasn't managed to turn his skill set into points. I mean, obviously, huge amounts of variance, we should say. There is a luck factor in poker, otherwise I'd win them all. Jonathan Jaffe certainly on the bad side of variance at the moment. But, sorry, one match actually out of 6. Really disappointing.
Yeah, I think that, Faraz Jock is super pleased with who he has here, representing his team as the wild card. Just a bit of bad variance, I think. Jaffe's used to it.
Philip Galfond, Jonathan Jaffe, 9 matches, 1 win.
Can we just say, before we throw to Laura, can we just talk about how good the rounders have been? Like, I mean, she's going to go over and all that stuff, but as long as they can keep Kevin McPhee off the felt, I mean, they're going to do fantastically. I mean, Kevin McPhee's played, 4 hands in the entire GPL, just donuts. So, obviously a Season 2 replacement should be in line in that regard. But other than that, the rest of the team's played great. Laura, what's going on?
Yeah, I think we should go over to Laura, and she'll talk you guys through the standings.
Indeed, I will. Thanks very much. New York Rounders there, 9 points. They are accelerating their lead and they are flying. San Francisco Rush, on the other hand, are not. 0 points, which means they will stay at the bottom of the table now. Can we take a look at the Americas Conference standings? Do we have the points in? There they are. I believe New York Rounders should have 73 points. In fact, that should be 2 points more than it is. Montreal Nationals are on 63 points now. So Jason Lavallee, who is in the next matchup, will be looking to try and to make some space between first and second. Sao Paulo Mets in 3rd place. Just 1 point between them there. LA Sunset, 3 points behind Sao Paulo. Fedor Holtz obviously playing that 3rd and final match of the evening. Las Vegas Moneymakers on 52 points, so they are 7 points behind LA Sunset. Jonathan Duhamel will be playing against Fedor, so we have an LA and Vegas pairing. And San Francisco Rush will remain at the bottom of the table for the week now. Jonathan Jaffe, unfortunately, not being able to pick up any points for Faraz Jock's side. And sadly, whatever happens with any of the other matches, they remain at the bottom of the table for the week. We spoke to him earlier, though, and he said, we're not bothered. We'll get it back somehow. But we're already into week 6 now, so, time is ticking. we've got 2 more weeks of online action, and then the live arena heads-up play starts, and that's when cross-conference starts. So Eurasian Conference will play America's Conference as well, so they will really need to sharpen up their act. But congratulations once again to Bryn Kenney and the New York Rounders, winning 9 points, getting the clean sweep there in the first match of the evening. Do join us back here very soon at the Global Poker League, because we have that next match coming your way. Jason Lavallee for the Montreal Nationals will be taking on Sao Paulo Mets. Darren Elias, stay tuned for that, coming your way here at the Global Poker League.
Can't get enough of the GPL? Head over to globalpokerleague.com for the most complete and up-to-date standings, schedule, stats, and information on your favorite team, as well as full-length match replays, highlights, and epic hands from all of our matches, and much, much more.
Hey guys, while we're waiting for Fedor Holtz versus Jonathan Duhamel, check out a match from earlier in the season where Jonathan Duhamel took on Olivier Busquet. Make hands.
Yeah, and I think it's an indication of how small these edges are between these two juggernaut players in Olivier Busquet and Darren Elias. So let's just get the cards in the air and see if Darren Elias can get some points on the board for the Sao Paulo Mets.
I think at this point, Darren's seen that I pretty much just made the better hand every single time. So my guess is that he's hasn't wavered any in his confidence. He's always come off as a pretty confident guy. Rightfully so.
Darren Elias flopping
Hopefully
the
I
nuts
just,
and
continue
improving
to
on the
get better.
turn.
Yeah, it's amazing how sometimes, you make the best possible hand, your hand can actually improve, but he's not going to get a bite here from Olivier.
He hasn't really probed a lot of turns.
And now he's made a flush.
Which means bet the turn after you raise and check back the flop. I don't know what that means, if it means anything. It's not like it's been a lot of hands.
Pretty unfortunate here for Darren Elias, and now if Olivier decides to... Oh, no, he did. I thought he ended up checking here.
See if there's a king. Oh, well. Okay. Okay. It's a pretty good hand all the way through.
Another two very playable hands here early on. Again, talking about that card distribution thing that we talked about a lot on day one. Sometimes, there's going to be a lull in the action when we don't get a lot of strong holdings, but sometimes it'll be fast-paced, and so far, some really interesting hands so far. So far.
Yeah, not much Darren Elias can do here.
Very disciplined check back here on the ace 7-5. He does have 2 overs to the 5 and the 7, and obviously doesn't think Olivier has too many aces in his range, but because he doesn't have any back doors and he can improve so much on the turn, decides to check back and gets away from it.
What does he know?
He's the best, buddy, or he had 4 high.
So we saw one of the star players of the LA Sunset in action on day one, Fedor Holtz. He didn't manage to accumulate too many points for LA Sunset, but Busquet is going to set that right today.
Interesting reflection there by Liv B, saying that he's not used to playing heads up with antes, and that difference in the strategy is actually going to probably be an edge for Darren Elias, for someone who, whenever he's playing heads up, most of the time there will be antes because it's heads up for a lot of money in an MTT tournament.
Interesting.
Always interesting when they both have the same hand, and especially when someone can still improve.
Okay. Now I guess it's a call. I mean, it's a pretty good hand that I have. I'm shaking this line. I don't know if he's the type of guy to have a ton of bluffs here, but maybe he'll just check. he just has like a queen. Oh, cool. You're just free rolling.
And they're signing at the same time,
I
too.
wonder if he'll have some giveaways of his hand strength with his bet sizing. Nah, Darren seems too good for that. Have a worse hand, buddy. Really?
Darren Elias trying to, obviously turning this
God,
relatively
so
strong
curious.
king high into a bluff here, trying to get a 3 or a 4 and something like that to fold, or something like ace jack.
Yeah, he's actually targeting almost specifically the hand that
Oh,
Olivier
man.
has.
So curious.
Curiosity killed the cap. Or did it? Ace jack high good.
Wow. How good. Wow.
300, 600,
Of course, this is one of the things, when you sign up for the GPL, it all seems like good fun on draft day, but what you actually, what you're actually signing up to do is play against the best in the world.
Yeah, and really for people to see, not only your strengths, but sometimes your weaknesses. And I think we saw a little bit of that yesterday in the match between Elke and Jungleman. Obviously, Elke, a huge pedigree in poker, so much tournament success, but, not that familiar, at least against an opponent like Jungleman, really just showed how good someone can be at heads-up poker. And that's really what separates the men from the boys.
That should hit me a bunch. Yeah, check. Good. Sweet. There's so many different ways to run good, It's like I get a card that like naturally freezes him so I don't have to make a tough decision.
Yeah, Darren and Olivier both aware there that when Olivier checks back the flop, he's going to have a lot of 6x in his range, and it makes it harder for Darren to fire a big bet on that river.
Olivier opting to make his first no equity pre-flop hand 3-bet with the Jack 4 offsuit, and Darren Elias pretty quick fold there with the 7-8 off.
Interesting, Olivier seems to be 3-betting way less than, say, another good player like Justin Bonomo yesterday, who was making a lot of linear 3-bets.
Just fold.
Looks like Darren's probably going to do what Olivier asks here.
He calls you just... It's like nothing you can really even barrel on. No equity spots, right, Griff? It's nice to win the first game, to get that pressure off. So much pressure. I wonder if Darren is talking. My guess is not too much.
Ding, 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 ding.
It's weird to talk without having feedback or interaction.
Yeah, Darren's quite like this at the table, I would imagine, as well. I haven't actually ever